Sometimes, loving a movie can be a curse. Once you are captivated by a masterpiece, it can be hard to settle for anything else. And this is especially true for a movie as iconic as Alien. What is undoubtedly one of Ridley Scott's most important film releases didn't just spawn a franchise and jettison Sigourney Weaver to global acclaim. It also redefined both the sci-fi and horror genres with bone-chilling success, showing what a blend of both could accomplish with the right direction. That said, while most fans will probably agree that nothing can quite compare to the experience of watching Alien for the first time, one recent film is bound to impress even the most hardened sci-fi enthusiasts. Directed by Igor Abraменko, 2020's Sputnik is a criminally overlooked accomplishment that manages to follow closely in Alien's footsteps while pulling off its own stellar extraterrestrial fright. On the surface, Abraменko's film sounds almost like a poor imitation of Alien, and perhaps in another director's hands, it would be. The film focuses on Dr. Tatiana Kilmova, a Russian psychologist who is enlisted by the Russian military in the year 1983 to treat Konstantin Veshnyakov, a Soviet cosmonaut whose last trip to the stars ended in a crash landing, which left his co-pilot dead. At first bold in her attempts to diagnose Veshnyakov, Dr. Kilmova is soon horrified to learn that the cosmonaut isn't quite the lone survivor he appears to be. In reality, an alien entity has burrowed inside his stomach that only comes out at night, forming a symbiotic relationship with Veshnyakov that Dr. Kilmova is subsequently tasked to either control or break in this international gem. Despite Sputnik's basic premise bearing a striking familiarity to its 1979 predecessor, the film's captivating atmosphere makes clear that it makes the most of this inspiration, and critics agree. As of now, Sputnik boasts an 87% critics score on Rotten Tomatoes, and its audience score isn't far behind, testifying to the film's narrative power. Unfortunately, due both to its international status and the fact that Sputnik, like many films in 2020, had the misfortune of being released right at the beginning of the pandemic, Abraменko's film is currently far less known than it deserves to be among American audiences. Nevertheless, the film's gripping performances, production value, and riveting script more than make checking out Sputnik worthwhile. From its opening sequence depicting Veshniakov's final, ill-fated minutes in space, Sputnik demonstrates a masterful handling of suspense by gradually hinting at the appearance of its true monster. But what really sets Abraменko's film apart from other recent sci-fi horrors is the film's premise. Taking place almost entirely within the confines of a Russian facility run by the merciless Colonel Semiradov, Sputnik is as claustrophobic as a thriller and yet as gory as the bloodiest entries in the horror genre. Rather than devolving into a mindless slasher or more action-heavy form of sci-fi, such as Predator, however, Sputnik wields its gore sparingly, drawing out the film's long periods of uncertainty as Dr. Kilmova gradually learns more about the symbiote infecting Sputnik's Soviet hero in time to be shocked by its aggressive potential. As Semiradov increasingly finds himself drawn to this potential, Sputnik doubles down on its political undertones to frame a classic sci-fi conflict between those who see the monster as a military weapon and those who see the man behind the monster. While this narrative angle may come off as tedious to those well-versed in sci-fi conventions, Sputnik holds your attention by gradually unearthing darker and darker truths about Veshniakov's condition, offering a criticism of those who would commit atrocities in the name of government, while also offering a fascinating exploration of the dwindling boundary between Veshnyakov and the creature within. In this way, Sputnik deviates from the more fantastical direction of some more recent entries in the Alien franchise, like Prometheus and Alien Covenant, and instead uses its alien to subtly reflect on the defiant nature of the human spirit. As a result, fans of more grounded, intense sci-fi horror should be especially drawn to Sputnik. While Abraменko's Alien isn't used to portray feminist horror in space, the movie nonetheless balances ruthless gore with effective suspense to deliver a poignant cautionary tale about attempting to control that which cannot help but crave freedom.